when I started Arch Capital, it was 12 of us with capital. We raised $1 billion to build a company. And today the company is 17 billion and it has 4,500 employees. That's only 20 years later, right? So the foundation of that performance, it wasn't Dinos Iordanou. I'm one guy. It's the team. And more importantly, the culture and the environment. So if teams win games, teams win in the marketplace, teams build companies, not individuals. I think if you're having too much individualism in a team, it destroys the spirit. So I'm a big proponent of what Arteta is doing, because first of all, age doesn't mean anything to him. If you can show you can do it, you're on the team. Second, he wants a team atmosphere. He wants players the best attribute that I can give to Pele, because I was a kid and I watched him as a kid as I was growing. It was in my playing years in the 60s. You know, he made everybody around him a better player. Mm-hmm. So the best players in the team is not what they do themselves, but how do elevate the game of everybody else who is playing together, you know. And I'll give you a phenomenal story. Years back, the two best basketball teams, you know, in rankings and in wins and losses, there were St. John's and Georgetown. And Villanova actually won the national championship. In those years, both St. John's and Georgetown had stars. Patrick Ewing, Wennington on the other side, Chris Mullin, Walter Berry, you know. And Villanova had some good athletes, but nobody that it was going to go number 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5 in the draft. Where these guys, they would have had several people getting into, you know. And Villanova, St. John's lost to Georgetown on the semifinal. The 3 teams from the Big East made the Final Four. And now Villanova, he was going to play Georgetown in the final. And nobody predicted that they're going to win the game. Well, they won and they got the national championship. You guys can research it. But they were interviewing Rolly Massimino, which is the coach of Villanova. And I think it was an ESPN reporter, and he says, Rolly, I've been watching you on the bench, and you didn't pay any attention on the scoreboard. You were always looking at the field, looking at your players, giving directions. You weren't looking at the scoreboard. He says, can you explain why? And he says, yeah, it's very simple, he says. I wanted my players to make the right decisions. When do they make their teammates better? Shall I take the shot or pass it? Because, you know, another teammate can take a better shot than me. And when you have that attitude in a team, that the team plays together, you know, the results are going to be good. And I knew, he says, we were doing the right things on the field, so I knew the scoreboard is going to be with us. So, you know, at the end of the day, and it's the same in business. I was very successful because not only I was picking good athletes, good insurance executives, but also people that they wanted to work as a team. Because in the business of insurance, the manufactured product is a decision. All we make is underwriting decisions, claims decisions, actuarial decisions. So the quality of the decision is what differentiates an excellent company from a good company from a lousy company. So what is the probability of making better decisions when 2 minds, 3 minds, they're discussing, you know, the situation, they're making a joint decision, you know, versus a lone ranger that says, oh, I know it all and I'm going to do it. So yeah. It's the same when you're playing the sport. And I think going back to your Arsenal question, I think Arteta has brought that flavor into the team. They're more of a team. They're talking to each other. They celebrate together. They try to make each other a better player. And if you're youthful and you don't have the experience, but you show things in practice, you're going to get your opportunity to be on the starting lineup or the first or second or third substitution and get a playing time. So I like him, and I think Arsenal is on the right track.
I love it.
Well, that was a great little, he always has good tidbits. Well, this has been incredible. And, you know, Dad, you're my definitely my role model. I love you. I'm very, people probably are now jealous. I have a very good mentor in my life. And, you know, I think it's what you exemplify beyond just your American dream story. And I think it's important to note is like, we talk a lot about the transition out of soccer and the importance of that. And everything you just spoke to were also lessons that you learned in the game. And I think what's incredible too is like looking at Joanna as an example. She's going to be serving in a role for many years where she's ingraining and teaching those lessons to young women. And they can then take that on to not a professional soccer career necessarily, but in the business world, in whatever they decide to pursue next. And it still applies, right? That team mentality still applies. So yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Dad. Love you. And this was great.